What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel, covering part 4 of how to do TIG art. Today we're going to be going over etching and making your frame. There's only 3 things that you need. You need a Dremel, you need a 16th and a 1/8 ball burr bit. I use the 16th ball burr bit to outline everything that I'm going to etch or shade in prior to filling in the spots. So that's what I'm doing here. I've got my 16th ball burr bit and I'm going through and I'm looking at everything that I want to etch to really make this piece pop, and I'm outlining everything. And what I mean by that is I'm getting as close to the weld as I can without nicking the weld and messing up the color. So I'm going to go through and do that on everything, and then after that, I'm switching over to my 1/8 inch ball burr bit, and I'm gonna be filling everything in from the top down. Now, I have a rule of thumb. When I etch, I only go in one direction. The same as we covered in the first video is you wanna move in the direction that your bit is spinning. Okay, so we're gonna go left to right always. I know I've seen a lot of people go, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's fine and it looks okay, but you got to remember, lighting is everything when it comes to art, and especially metal art. So if you think about it, if you're going left to right, and then right to left and left to right, and you're kind of sporadic in your approach, it's going to show when the light hits it. The best way I can describe it is this. When everybody mows their yard and you'll go down and back in a pattern. Well, you'll be going one way, and depending on where the sun's at, it's hard to see your path. And then you'll turn the other way and you're like, damn, it's cutting better on this side. No, it's the way the light hits it. It's the exact same thing with this. So if you want it to look uniform, I highly recommend going in one direction. And then just like you would, with the rattle can or anything else, you want to slightly overlap each stroke. Try to keep the same amount of pressure when you're etching. If you start pushing a little harder, that's going to show. You're not really trying to etch this, you're just trying to shade it. So you don't need much pressure at all. So, keys to remember: outline first, then switch to your bigger bit and go left to right. And work your way down or up, depending on what's most comfortable to you. And then repeat that over and over and over until you've got all of your etching done. And if you don't believe me, try going in one constant direction repeatedly, and then in another area go back and forth, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll be like, damn, he does know. So it's little minute details like that I think make the biggest difference in your finished product. And I mean, hell, you've come this far and you've put this much time and effort, and if you've made it this far in my videos, you obviously care about what you're doing, and you want to put your best foot forward, and I'm here to help you do that. I will never intentionally try to steer you wrong. So I live and die by the advice that I'm giving you when it comes to art. So with that being said, I'm gonna roll a time lapse with some audio. I've got cars going behind me because it's too damn hot out here to close the door. And I'll catch back up with you whenever we start framing this dude. Stay tuned. Oh, side note, in conjunction with keeping your movements the same, whatever direction you pick. So if you're going horizontal to the piece, or if you decide to go vertical with your strokes, you need to maintain that throughout the entirety of the piece. Otherwise, if you go vertical and then on another spot you go horizontal, you're gonna see that in the light. All right, y'all, got everything etched up, carrying this big sunbuck outside, and it is heavy. I've gotten to where, you know, working in a one-car garage, if you don't do as much grinding as you can outside, you're gonna fight it and you're gonna be cleaning it. So I take the time to take it outside and do as much hot work as I can out there. I'm cutting the piece off right now. I always try and go straight down when I'm cutting those off and let the grinder do the work. If you try to come in it on an angle like I am right here, with cleaning it up, you may slip and it's not going to be good. So you don't want to slip and then risk screwing up your piece. So let's see here. I'm just doing a little preventative maintenance right now, cleaning everything up. That way it's less I got to do next time around. Right here I'm showing you that I'm going to clean up the outside edges of where those stitch welds were. I just want them flush. I just want them flush. That way it sits nice and tight with the frame. All right, here I am laying out, deciding how big I want my frame to be. So depending on what material you get, it's going to change. But for reference, I use 3/16 by 1 inch in width, and this piece was 12 by 10. So I added an inch to both. If you've got, that will give me 1 inch of overhang total. So I'll have a 1/2 inch on each side, if that makes sense. So you'll just have to do your math on that and kind of figure out what you want, how close you want it, and you can really play with that and fine tune it. I've got everything cut down on 45s, cleaning everything up. Just a light cleanup, light prep. That way I can get a good tight fit and minimize warpage. Here I'm using my framing square, throwing everything together. You want to make sure that whatever side you start with, so if you start with the long side, that you keep that, if you start with the long side towards you, okay, you need to keep that to you. Otherwise, if you flip it and you go the other way, when you go to put the, now, a lot of people clamp these frames down whenever they're trying to do it. And I learned just to move with the flow of the material. You'll see me poking and tapping and checking. What I'm doing is I'm checking to see what side's high. Okay, whatever side has the most wobble to it, that's the side I weld, and that heat is going to draw and it's going to naturally push away. And I keep working that way out until I finish it, and then it will be flat. No clamping, nothing like that. You don't have to do anything like that. Just keep chasing the high until everything comes out nice and flat. And you're gonna see on here that I do not cover how I particularly do the designs in my frame and everything else. And my reasoning behind that is I have to keep some things to me that, you know, differentiates me from everybody else. And there's just certain things that I'm not ready to give away yet, and I hope y'all understand that. I'm getting ready to tack this on there, and honestly, all you need to do is fuse tacks. Biggest thing you want is you want it tight. You don't want to have to put it under a lot of pressure to get it. I've got a piece of steel that I'm using just to hold it down. You'll see I start from one side, just get nice little quick tacks. Then I flip it, go 180 and go across from it. Do the same thing there. And then I choose which side is the worst. I get that now. That way I'm not fighting it at the very end. And I'm putting very, very little pressure. It's quick. You're not having to clamp anything down. This is a pretty cool trick that I've picked up. through trial and error, and it'll help y'all out. And just like that, this baby's done. Couldn't be more happy with the way this turned out, and I can't wait for one of y'all to receive it. And that pretty much wraps up this series, y'all. I want to thank y'all for tuning in and coming along with me. I've tried to cover everything from A to Z, but there's a lot that I wasn't able to cover because this video and this series would have drug on forever. I'm gonna be coming out with some shorter videos in the very near future that cover certain situations. So exactly how to get what color you want when you want to get it, how to manipulate your post flow, let's see what else, how to fix a screw up and hide it, because believe it or not, I do that as well. And then we're going to dive into some different stuff, how to walk the cup, different ways to get a weave with the different types, weld test, fitter test, how to do calculations on layout. We're going to be covering all kinds of stuff, and if you appreciate this kind of content, I want to encourage you to smash that like button and please subscribe and come back. And until then, God bless.